Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you a few things so that you can charge more money and work less time. So I'm going to do this by showing you a few examples of what you can do in order to really reduce your workload and actually get way more money for what you're doing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a little tutorial on how to build profile images for different social media platforms and how you can use this as a template to produce more work and charge more money when you're going to clients. So what we've got here is a template that I've started using for any kind of social media images that I need to create. So as you know, every single platform has different sizes, has different kinds of resolutions that you have to use. So it can get very confusing and very out of hand when you are working with clients and when you're producing these things. So I basically made this template based on the Start Loaded brand. And what I've done is I've just set up all the different social media platforms so that you can see how I can start to batch everything and kind of use a package in order to produce work really fast. So what I've done here is I've spent a little time actually investing in creating this template so that later down the line I can use it for any kind of project. So if any kind of client comes to me and says, you know, we need to create all our social media images, I can simply use this template and simply apply a few tweaks in order to create work really fast. And this means that I can charge a lot more money because I've already invested the time in creating this thing. So something that might take me 5 hours to create will now take me 1 hour, and I can still charge for those 5 hours because I've actually put the time into that before, and I've used my expertise to create all of these things. So you're not really cheating the client here, you're just basically using your expertise to deliver better work. And this actually means that, you know, in the end, your work will have less mistakes because you're focusing your time on the crucial parts and not on, you know, creating stuff that's that can already be done. So this is a really, really good way of selling expertise, of selling, you know, extra value to your clients, and, you know, delivering stuff in less time and focusing on the really important stuff. So I've got all these different profile images and banner images for different social media platforms. As you can see, I've tagged them all so I know exactly what's going on, and this is really crucial. I've named it social media template, and naming is really key here because it basically allows me to look at this 3 years down the line and still know what I'm talking about. So I've got my Facebook profile here, my Facebook banner, Twitter profile, Twitter banner, you get the gist. Basically, all the different social media platforms are displayed on here, they're all tagged, and this way I can basically batch all of this in one go. I'm using InDesign here. You don't need to have InDesign, but it's just a way of showing you how you can set things up so that you can actually create things very quickly. So what I've done here is basically InDesign is incredibly useful when it comes to batching and creating different canvases for different sizes. So you can create a web project down here. So if you go to File, New Document, you can actually create a web project. Let's say, for example, you're designing this for social media. You can create a web project, and that will allow you to have everything displayed in pixels. And I'm not actually going to do this. I'm just going to show you. This is not really a practical example. It's more of the theory behind how to create different ways of batching everything. But anyway, so what you can do here is you can actually set up each one of the artboards to the desired size. So for example, here I can go to my tool, down here, my page tool, and I can actually change the size of any of the platforms so that you can actually start to create different canvases for whatever application you need. And this means that once I actually export everything, I have all my different images exported in the right size and ready to go. And I can actually do this with as many different brands as I want. So I can actually now start charging for this to my clients, and I can actually start making way more money and working less. So what I would do here is I would just simply export everything in the correct resolution, and I would just get, you know, I'm just going to save this as an example, and then I can just get the range. Like even maybe I just want to export stuff for Facebook and social and Pinterest, and you get the resolution, and you can basically bang it all out in one go. The next thing I would do is I would just make sure that everything works exactly in the same way, and that it just works properly in each one of the platforms. So one other aspect of working less is to batch everything, to do everything in one go. So I would basically produce all my images in one go, and once that's all ready to go, I would open all the different social media platforms that I have and actually upload everything so that I know that everything is working correctly. So first I would dedicate my time onto creating the images, and then from there I would start to upload everything in one go. The other thing that I have here that it's really crucial, and it really works out for any kind of project, is to kind of set yourself some rules and some guidelines. So I've basically set my canvas to a certain size, and that's one of my rules. My other rules here are setting the brand colors right. So no matter what you're doing, if you set a set of rules to the things that you're going to be doing, you will be able to deliver better work, and you will be able to work in a process that is way more efficient. So you're working more as a factory as opposed to scattered and all over the place. So what I've got here is my brand colors. They are displayed here on my swatches, and you can do this with anything that you're doing, but this is just an example of how I use my swatches. So I know that my brand is going to be on the right colors, and also what I do here is I have my paragraph styles, and you don't need to learn the practical side of this. You can be using any kind of program, but what counts here is that you have styles and rules that really apply to anything that you do within your brand. So I know that titles and subtitles will be displayed in certain ways, and I know that that's going to work out throughout the board, throughout anything that I'm actually doing. The next thing that I've done here is I've basically applied the largest kind of common denominator in order to create everything that I'm using for the background images, for example. So what I've done here is I've created one big background image in Photoshop, and what I've done is I've created it in the largest size. So for example, I know here that the largest size is going to be my my YouTube background. So that's going to be the biggest canvas I have on this template. So I know that I need to create an image that is at least 2,560 pixels times 1,440 pixels. And that's what I've done here. I've basically created an image that has that size so that I know that it's going to be the right resolution for the largest image I have, and then from there I can work downwards, and I can actually reduce the size of that image so that it's not pixelated in order to apply it to all the other platforms. So it's all about thinking ahead of the line. It's all about thinking ahead of time, and actually just thinking how many things can I do to reduce my workload. So this comes to really anything. You can start to duplicate, for example, you can start to duplicate canvases here in order to reduce the time spent on creating different things. So I'm going to show you an example, and it's really just basic stuff, but let's say, for example, I need to have a new profile and banner for a new social media platform. All I do here is I take these two and I duplicate them, and I have basically most of the work done. I just need to change a few things, maybe the name here, and then I would change the size of the canvas in order to apply to this new platform, and then I basically have something done in 2 seconds. So that's how you can use these things. You can use processes to reduce the time you spend on things. The next thing I have here, which is really cool, is basically I have my brand all set up, and this is really crucial if you want to have, fire out stuff really quickly. You want to have everything set up from before. You want to spend time and really invest in creating all these assets beforehand, so that once you're ready to roll, you just simply copy and paste, and you can export stuff properly, and you can have less mistakes later down the line. So the more mistakes, the more you leave to later, and the less you prepare, the more mistakes you're prone to make later down the line. So what I've done here is I've basically set up my logo set, and again, it's just an example through Start Loaded. But you can see here that I have my logos set in a way that I can basically use anywhere, no matter what kind of medium I'm using. And then I can just copy and paste the logo so that it's always working and it's always on brand. So I have all my different setups here. As you can see, you have different color setups. And I've also set up my icons so that I know that I can use them in any kind of setup. And I've also got here my references. So I've actually got the logo in an editable file. So you can have it as a font file. So if you do need to change anything later down the line, you can do that pretty easily. Not that I'm going to do it, and not that I would look to do that. But anyway, maybe you create a sub-brand and you want to stay on the same kind of, you want to keep the same kind of fonts, you want to keep the same kind of kerning. It's very easy to lose track of that if you don't have a reference file. So this is also really important. If you create reference files for everything, you can basically minimize time later down the line. So I've got here, as a reference, the width, the fonts here, and I also have my lines are also, created here. So I can also see how thick those lines are going to be and apply them later down the line. So this is basically a few examples of how to reduce your workload and really increase the profit you can be making and really spending time on things that are crucial. And it's not about cheating clients, as I've said before. It's about working smart and delivering smart work so that your clients can really benefit from everything that you're doing. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Thomas Talavera from Start Loaded. And if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel so we can produce way more work. If you'd like to download the template for your social media platforms, you can find the link below in order to download this template for free. Look at our website and maybe you'll find some other stuff that might be really useful for you. Cheers, guys.